Last night I had kind of a strange experience. I went to a Halloween party with a lot of people that I didn't know, and one of the partygoers was dressed as Pikachu in maybe the most uncomfortable costume I can imagine. Not so much like uncomfortable to look at, but I can't imagine wearing that and wanting to be seen by people. But it was a good party. It was, fun. Everybody's hanging out, talking, drinking, playing Pokemon, and alienating the people there who were not playing Pokemon to some degree. But after a time, the friend that I came with and I decided that it was time to go home. But as we were leaving, Pikachu started apologizing for being so gay and swearing to tone it down if it made my friend and me comfortable enough to hang out longer. And it was completely absurd to me because though I am not very culturally gay, I am interested in men physically and romantically. And, so for a gay man to say, "I'm sorry, I'm so gay and I'm making you uncomfortable," was just ridiculous. The question of what it is to be gay culturally versus like the actual being interested in men physically and romantically, it's a difficult subject to approach. I just read a book called How to Be Black by Baratunde Thurston, and he examines the question of cultural blackness really well and pretty comprehensively in this book. There is nothing cultural about being black. Like, it's a genetic thing. There's nothing cultural about being interested in men physically or romantically. There are cultural things that have come from those people. So maybe you're effeminate and you have a lot of fun at dance clubs and that's fine. Maybe you are a big fan of like the Pan-African movement and you celebrate Kwanzaa, and maybe you don't. Maybe you like nerdy stuff that you're not supposed to as a black person. Maybe you don't have an opinion about Obama and you're supposed to as a black person. Maybe you don't care about the debate for marriage equality and you're a gay person. Like, those things are cultural. Those things have nothing to do with who you are genetically. And honestly, that was something that I struggled with a lot growing up, was seeing gay men and thinking that I had nothing in common with them. Like, I theorized that what happened was a person realized that they were interested in men romantically and physically, and then thought, well, this is how I have to behave to fit into what I'm supposed to be. Like, this culture, this cultural gayness is what it means to be gay. And I never bought into that. I would not feel comfortable that way. I don't have a lisp. I don't speak with, a higher voice. I don't really have feminine affectations. That's not me. I would not feel comfortable that way. So I theorized that it was all bullshit. But it's not. The reason that gay culture exists is because a lot of homosexuals feel comfortable with that. And that's fine. A lot of homosexuals don't. So there are subcultures in gay culture, and they are varyingly gay, and some are more or less not gay. And it's really complicated and convoluted, and it's a difficult thing to talk about. I watched a discussion recently about lesbians and studs, and like, what's it mean to be a stud, and are you a stud? Are you too feminine to be a stud? Like, you don't look like a man, you're not acting like a man, you're not a stud, you're just like some sort of poser or something. And there's no value in that, to me. Just trying to define and delineate and all of that, like, they're cultural things that, like, you're part of it or you're not, or maybe you're slightly part of it, but it doesn't matter. And the whole idea of cultural gayness making people uncomfortable pisses me off, because that's not a thing. You should behave in a way that is consistent with your values. You should behave in a way that you're comfortable with. But outside of that, like, if somebody wants to have an issue with homosexuality, then, marriage laws and things like that, like the actual act of two men sleeping together, like, that is maybe something that a person can take issue with. But dance clubs, hairdressers, theater, like, none of that should be a thing that people are upset about. I had a friend ask me a few years ago that, like, if he bought this yellow truck, would that mean he was gay? And I said that I think that only having sex with men would mean that he was gay. But those are the kind of conversations that happen. Like, it's really aggravating to me. So while I am not part of gay culture, I support it. I mean, go ahead, do whatever you want. Like, be comfortable. If you're not being inappropriate, don't worry about whatever other people think of your level of comfort and the way that you behave that you're comfortable with. So, I doubt Pikachu is watching this, but, if there are other Pikachus out there, if there's anybody who's uncomfortable with how queer they are, regardless of what gender or sex they're interested in, physically and romantically, just calm down. It doesn't matter. You can be culturally gay. You can be not culturally gay. You can date whoever you want. You can, be culturally black in a lot of different ways. You can be culturally gay in a lot of different ways. Just stop worrying about it and just be comfortable. Figure out what makes you comfortable and do it. And yeah, I'll see you later.